everybody, welcome back to Volks TV. Summer is over. Winter is rapidly approaching. That means, camping trips, cold weather camping trips. I've been dealing with in the bus. My heater boxes kind of suck. They're letting exhaust into the cab. They don't really warm the bus up anyway, so you end up just asphyxiating on exhaust gases. You get dizzy, you get tired, you get headaches. Super not good. So what we got is one of these diesel heaters, Chinese diesel heater I think they're called, or they got a bunch of different names for them. I picked this one up on Amazon. It was pretty cheap. It was like 200 bucks or less. Come with everything you need. You've got the unit, you got your exhaust, your little controller, your fuel pump, your wire harness, some instructions in 19 different languages, probably none of them correct. Little tank, everything, and it runs on diesel gas separate from the motor, so you can actually run it while you're parked. It's a parking cab heater, they also call them. I guess big diesel trucks use them. You can plumb them into your tank. So we're going to put this in the bus today. We got a camping trip coming up next week, and I think Bus Fest is coming, so maybe we'll get to try it. I think it's supposed to get down into the 50s at night, so not real cold, but we can try it. Pretty straightforward to install. The harness is pretty much plug and play. You only have to make the one connection to the battery, and then everything else just literally has its own type of plug, plug into certain things. So we're going to give it a shot. We're going to see if we can get it to work. I don't know, I got a good spot I think in the bus where I can kind of hide it, and then get some use out of it when I need it, but not have to look at it when I don't want to see it. So let's see if we can get this thing installed. Alright, so in the bus, I got lucky. I don't know if this is original to the Riviera or if this is something they added later. Kind of looks like it'd be original. It fits in there nice. We've got this perfect little sort of cubby here. This is where I was keeping my toolbox, because it could slide in and out. It was real easy to get to. With the cooler in here, I just have to take one thing out if I packed right. I've kind of reconfigured everything. I've got a different tool bag solution that's actually going to end up behind the closet, so all I have to do is open the rear hatch to get my tools. That might be easier, depending on if we have bikes back there, if I have the kitchen hanging. It might be a little harder, but I can always put them in the closet too. The closet's almost always accessible. So I got a place to put my tools. It's a little different, so that opened up this space. The thing fits in there perfect. I measured, I checked in the floor down here underneath to make sure that there was no no cross braces or fuel lines or electrical or anything, so it's all clear where I want to put it, and the thing fits in there pretty nice. And the nice thing about this is that I can close this with the bench on there, and everything will be pretty much the same as it is now, except there will be a heater in there, and I can just open this up and latch it open, and I can have the heater blowing. They blow pretty hard, and it's a 5 kilowatt, and I think everybody said a 3 kilowatt is just enough for a bus. So if I do a 5 kilowatt, it'll just heat up a little bit faster, and it might just get a little bit warmer in here. But we can always crack a window or crack a Safari or something if it gets too hot. The downside to these is that they kind of run to a set temperature, and then they run a little bit longer to cool off the insides and to blow out the excess diesel out the exhaust. So when you shut it off, it doesn't just shut off immediately. Like, it's still kind of blowing heat, so you'll get pretty warm is what I hear. But that's okay. On a long drive, it's got a little remote control and stuff. We can sort of control the temperature as we go, and if we need to crack a window or something, we can. So it should be good. So all I got to do is drill 4 mounting holes, 2 holes, one for the intake and one for the exhaust on the bottom of the unit, and then there's 4 little pieces on the corner, and then there's a little fuel line hole you have to drill because the fuel line comes up from underneath, and that's it. Then I can mount the unit. The wiring, I'm gonna try, I don't know if I can hide it anywhere inside. I only really need to get the power wires back to where my remote fuse box is, and I'm going to run this on its own little fuse kind of separate from the systems of the bus. You know, I always like to do that with my accessories. So we'll just have to see once we get it in place. I don't really have anywhere else to mount it. I can't do it really under the seat because I have my jack and stuff in there, my towing and my straps. And then on this little cubby to the left here, I want to keep that open for my lanterns and my bedding and my camping stuff, you know, so we can pack it nice. This last trip we took was perfect. Everything was put away. So I'm going to grab my drill. We're going to drill some holes in the bottom of the bus here, and we'll just get to work. Alright, well that wasn't so bad. 5 or 6 little holes in the floor. It did get pretty close to one of the heater cable tubes. It was hidden up by the frame rail and I kind of missed it when I was feeling underneath there. But I didn't hit it. Got about a 1/2 inch. Pretty close, but I didn't hit it. I'm not using them anyways, but you know, you still want to be able to go back to original without having to, you know, do too much work. So good thing we didn't hit it. The next thing we got to do, I got everything vacuumed out. It's nice and clean. We've got this little plate here. This is basically the bracket that holds it down. It's also the template. That's how I knew where to drill the holes. And everything's marked out. So we know it goes in there this way. Now we're in that corrugated floor. I didn't realize that that plywood was going to come out. Thought it went all the way across. So kind of happy that it did. Because this thing will sit now on the metal. I'd rather not have hot exhaust, you know, going through the wood. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to mount, this mounts to the bottom of the unit, and then it's got these 4 screws that hold the plate down, and then it's got the 4 sort of studs with nuts underneath that'll suck the whole middle down. But we want to make this totally leak proof. I don't want any of that exhaust coming back in through the floor. So what we're going to do, I've got this fire block sealant. It's like a silicone based sort of a goo, like a caulking. And we're going to just kind of cover all the way around without getting it in where the holes are. All around so that it can fill in the gaps. And it'll glue this plate down before we bolt it and screw it down. This way we're super sealed. You know, no water, nothing's going to come back up, no exhaust is going to come back up. And if it catches on fire, this stuff sort of swells up. And it doesn't let anything get past it. It's a fireproof sealant. So we're going to goop this all over the floor. And then we're going to mush the thing back down and bolt it, nut it, screw it, whatever. Then we can move on to phase 2, which is running the fuel lines. We're going to run the fuel lines from it's a spare tire well is where I decided to put my tank. Because I got a bigger tank, a 10-liter tank. So it'll be easy to fill. We just open that passenger side door up. Fill it with diesel. It'll go right underneath. The fuel pumps are notoriously noisy on these. Mine's got a little rubber mount, so hopefully it's a little bit better. But I'm going to put it up in the front, away from the bed, so we don't have to hear it if we're using it while we're sleeping. So with that, let's goop this plate down and get this monster installed. Now the fun part begins. The tank. These instructions are absolute garbage. Completely useless. They don't tell you how to do anything. Junk. We got to get this fitting into this hole from the inside. How do you do that? You know, that's a tricky question. I figured it out though. I watched a bunch of videos, I saw a bunch of people struggling with it, and I figured out an easy way to do it. You just need some stiff wire. And one guy I saw actually did it this way, and I tried it and it worked. So you take some stiff wire, you take what you want to be on the outside, which is this nut and this O-ring, just like that. Take your cap off, fish this wire up and out, just like that. You put your other O-ring on your fitting, put your fitting in, and you put a little bend on it. You are not going to be able to see that, but put a little bend on it and put a little, tuck it in, so now when you pull on it, it pulls it tight. Boom. Just like that, it's out. We got our O-ring. We got our nut. We can pull this tight as we tighten our nut down. We don't want any leaks here because this is the gas. This is actually going to be inside the bus. That O-ring that's inside is going to help hold it tight while we tighten it. Not too tight. Just enough to crush those O-rings. Ta-da! Now we've got our little fitting right there in the tank. We've got our O-ring nice and crushed. The other thing they don't tell you, they give you that skinny little fuel line you saw me just attach it to the bottom of the unit. That doesn't fit the fittings, but they give you about a foot of this odd sized rubber line that does fit the fittings. And then they give you these little clamps. And what you're supposed to do after figuring it out is you push that on and then you tighten the little clamp, and then you shove the little rubber line into the little plastic line into the little rubber line. And that's how you make all your connections. It seems really weird to me, and I don't think I'm going to leave it that way. I don't know. But that's pretty much, that's what you get. And then you shove that little plastic line in there and it's supposed to hold it. The same thing with the fuel pump. You know, you have to push a little rubber guy on there and then put the hose clamp on there and then shove the little plastic guy in there. It's weird, man. It's so weird. But that's how they want it, so that's how we're going to do it. Let me switch over. We'll show you the actual bus, where this is going to go. I will drill the hole and we'll mount everything underneath. And then it's just run the wires and find some diesel and we're good to go. Alright, so I found the perfect spot to put this thing. It's going to sit right there behind the front seat. It's perfect because this seat tips forward, so it's easy to fill. It's on the same side as the gas fill for the motor, so I can kind of do both. Usually the pumps will have diesel and gas at the same pump, so you know, if I need to fill both, I can fill both. So what I did was I made these little brackets. It's going to sit there. I got one on the bottom. And we got one that's going to take to the top there, just in case I need to remove it. I don't want to attach it super permanent, but that's going to hold it pretty nice. The seat covers it up. It fits kind of in the seat a little bit. The seat's kind of concave in the back, so it's absolutely perfect. The perfect spot. and I still get to retain my storage back there, you know, for my Rain-X and my brake fluid and stuff that I keep there. My spare's up on the roof rack because it's the huge grabber and it didn't fit back here. So I've got perfect storage. I have a stock jack that I fit back there, my gas spout, you know, a few things. But I get to keep that storage area, which is pretty sweet. I still have 10 liters of gas, which really should get me through a week-long trip. But if not, again, hit a gas station, you know, top it off, no problem. So I'm gonna get these brackets screwed on here and we'll run the fuel line, the fuel pump. For that we gotta go underneath. So let's go ahead and get her attached. Okay, I could not get a good angle on this while I was doing it, but here's the fuel pump set up at the angle that it's supposed to be at, with the lines and everything in there. And I ran the lines up over the heater tube, the stock heater tube, and then I got it in here. I'm going to put some, you can't see any of that, can you? I'm going to put some fuel line up here to protect it where it's running. I gotta go cut some more. And then I got the filter here between the pump and the unit. I'm not sure if that's where it's supposed to go, but that's the only place that it can go. I don't have room to put it anywhere else. So we've got it here. And then the line wraps again on top of the stock heat tube just to keep it protected. And then we have in here there's the exhaust pipe and the intake and the fuel. And then I ran the air intake and zip tied it up here above the frame rail, where it's not going to be sucking up any water, hopefully, on the trail. Then we've got our little muffler kind of right there. And then the exhaust goes down, makes a 90-degree turn, and comes out just in front of the driver's side rear wheel. There's that muffler, comes all the way back up here, right into the machine, and then the fuel line and the air intake. Everything's secured with zip ties and hose clamps. Good and secure, good and tight, for a leak-free fit, I hope. I'm gonna go grab the harness. We gotta plug in the fuel filter, gets plugged in up here, and then we gotta run some 12-volt power to it, and then I'll go get some diesel and we will give it a shot. We got our tank with some diesel in it. Everything is hooked up correctly, I believe. The little screen came on just here. No leaks that I could see. And I think everything's hooked up in the right order. I had the pump backwards, but I fixed that this morning. So that should be good. So now we got to prime the pump. And apparently, what they say, hold this button, push that button. Up. It's ticking. I hear it. So that means it's priming itself. This is good news. Once it gets the fluid in it, it's actually pretty quiet. Alright, I'm gonna come back when I get some action coming out of this heater. Okay, it's primed. I climbed underneath there. It's actually got gas going where it's gonna go. I do have a little bit of a leak, I think, coming out of the tank, so I'm gonna have to tighten that up. But really, just turn it on. You get the air intake, exhaust out, the glow plug light is on, and the body temperature is 1 dot. And I do feel stuff coming out of here, so I think we're good. I don't know why it's counting. Oh, there we go. Now the fan's going crazy. It's getting hotter. It works. We got heat. This is awesome. Oh, that's so cool. How exciting. Alright, well there we go. Diesel heater in the bus for camping. It's kicking out some good heat. It's pretty hot out today, but I can feel the heat coming out of the vent. Wow. Alright, well, there you go. Get you one. I got this on Amazon. I'll throw a link down below. You can get one for yourself and figure out how to get it in the bus. The instructions super suck. You're gonna have to figure it out on your own. But heat, man, and no exhaust fumes. I'm pretty stoked. It's gonna be nice. So that'll be it for this week, gang. Get a t-shirt from the link down below. Visit all the friends and all the places. Like it, comment, subscribe, share it, do all the good stuff. And thanks for watching.